Welcome back to Beholder 2 One Shots. Today we are here to play Broken Figures, which is the newest game by Joel Salda. And Joel was recently on the show 2 weeks ago, and we talked about this, so super exciting. We are here today with Joel to be the GM, Ginny Mathers. And then we also have Hina from GM Hina.
Hi.
We have Cheryl from Roving Naturalist and Nature Check.
Hello.
And we have Ellen from Birdhouse Mysteries.
Hi.
At the end of the show, I will give everybody an opportunity to tell us about where they're from and how we can go find them. But for now, let me hand it over to Joel.
All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I'm really excited to play this with you guys. You know, again, this was kind of a weird one I put out to Twitter about a few months ago, and I just said, hey, guys, what do you want to see? You know, what's a game that's not out there that you'd like to see happen? And Ellen happened to respond and was like, hey, I'd really like a murder mystery, and started playing with it, and before you know it, I had a game. So if there's anything you'd like to see, let me know. It all started with you all receiving strange parcels in the mail. Inside, a marble figure of you, perfectly sculpted to your likeness, lay inside. There was no return address. The handwriting was not one that you recognized. But clearly, this individual knew you. The sculptor was able to capture your likeness and your expression, even down to small little details about your person into this piece of marble. The only clues to the sculptor's identity were stamped into the heel. A D.I. seemed to be the sculptor. Finding a nice art piece, you kept it. Some years later, you received a similar package, but this one had a very different set of contents. You found a map marked with a location on Augur's Mountain. You found a prepaid receipt for booked lodging for a place known as Raven's Head for a set of dates. And there were a couple of postcards from the location, depicting the ice-capped mountains and the activities that one could enjoy there. Finally, you found a red envelope addressed to you with the following text. I hope you enjoy this figurine. Yours is but one in a set. These carving these likenesses has taken me a long time. And while I have photographs of them individually, I wish to bring them all together one last time. You do not know me, but I am a member of your community. I watch those who live here with great interest, and you have caught my eye. I am sorry for the air of mystery, but I do not wish to be known for my art, even though I hope it has brought you some joy. Regretfully, I have learned that I do not have long left. My illness is terminal, and I am dying. Instead of taking my fortune to the grave, I wish to pass it on to someone who deserves it. I wish to take nothing with me. Inside this package, I have included directions and lodging to a resort I visited several times over the past years. It is a fitting place to finally be put to rest. I know you do not know me, but grant this dying sculptor one last request. Please come to Raven's Head. Enjoy yourself and get to know the other people I have sculpted. Place your figurine on the mantle so that I may gaze on them one last time. My time is almost up, and I wish for the people I have admired so much in life to be with me in my final days. After my funeral, those who stay will split my fortune. It is the least a sculptor can do. I only ask that you come alone, as Raven's Head can only accommodate so many individuals at one time. I look forward to seeing you, and thank you for your attendance. I recommend you come. I've watched you hide your secret, and do not wish to share it. Sincerely, D.I. And for one reason or another, every one of you decided to make the trip. You let your loved ones or any friends know that you'd be back in a few days. And you began the long drive up to Augur's Mountain. Cellular service dropped out halfway up the mountain, so you were glad for the map. Cresting over the peak, you finally arrived at the Gothic resort of Raven's Head. Arriving at the front desk, you all seem to get there around the same time. You begin to walk in one by one, and anyone who would like to may approach the front desk. Let's start.
I was gonna say, Monica, seeing a group, kind of like pushes to the front and goes, "Excuse me," and walks right up to the desk.
Yes, and in front of you stands Ginny Mathers, an elderly woman with graying hair, tossed back into a loose bun, her fingers short and gnarled, but with a wide beaming smile that displays a fine set of dentures.
Yes, dearie. What is your name?
Monica Marsh, of the Astoria Marshes. I'm sure you've heard of me.
Oh, well, I don't get much news up here, but Miss Monica, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Raven's Head. If you would, here is okay, I see your reservations there. Right, you're one of DI's subjects. Do you know him at all?
No, I was hoping to have that illuminated for me here.
Unfortunately, I never met him or her. I frankly do not know. But they have donated quite a bit of money to this place and saved us from ruin over the years. So I'm glad that they are an individual that exists in this world.
Is that all?
Well, here's your key. I've been instructed by a letter from DI that you should place your figurine on the mantle over there, and please feel free to enjoy all that Ravenhead has to offer.
Fabulous, thank you. And she takes the key very primly.
Mm-hmm. And Ginny spots the other people who Monica has subsequently pushed in front of, and she beckons up.
Please don't be shy. I see that there are others to be here. Come on up, please.
Desiree will actually kind of perk up at that a bit and just walk forward quietly, but with a nice bright smile.
Yes. What is your name?
My name is Desiree Middleton. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, the pleasure is mine, dear. Do you have your reservation ready?
Oh, it's somewhere.
And she starts to check her bag as quickly as possible, rustling through a bunch of different things. She's very unorganized.
And at that, Ginny says,
If the rest of you could have your reservations ready, that would be wonderful, thank you. And don't worry, dear, it's totally fine. Just take your time.
Oh no, I have it right here.
And she'll actually pull it out, making some sort of sense of the mess, and she'll hold it out
absolutely.
towards Ginny.
Ginny takes the paper from you, and I imagine it's been a little crumble in your bag, and she smooths it out on the desk with her hands, and it's not the cleanest of motions, but she starts trying to get it a little flatter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. I see that you're one of DI's subjects as well. Here's your key, and if you can, place your figurine on the mantle.
Oh yes, of course. Thank you so much.
And she'll start to head towards the mantle, and she'll place her figure up on it and kind of watch it for a moment and just kind of smile a bit as she starts moving up to try and figure out where the heck her room is.
Absolutely. And it should be said there are a few... It seems that there are a few other figures on the mantle as well, other than yours and Monica's. Yes, and Ginny ushers.
Yes, you two ladies, you can step on up, please.
Bailey will step up and go, I am so sorry that you had to deal with the first one's rudeness. That was just so uncalled for. And she'll take out a perfectly crisp folder and pull out the reservation and hand it over.
Oh, well, thank you. This is lovely. It's fine. I mean, we get all sorts here at Raven's Head, and really, my mission is just to make your stay as comfortable and wonderful as I can, really. And, okay, yes, Miss Bailey, here's your key, and you may make your way over to the mantle, yes. Mm-hmm.
And you say that everything is covered this weekend, like food and everything?
Yes, there are a few, the basics are covered. Some of the instructors do charge for one thing or another, but the basic package has been covered for you from DI.
Can I have a list of what's in the basic package?
Yes, right here, ma'am, yes.
And she slides you the brochure, and it has a clearly she's had someone do this graphic. It's not updated in any way. It very much looks like this was done with the very early version of some sort of PowerPoint. But most of the activities are for free. It's just some of the more high-end things. Once you get into the spa, some of the packages have things you would need to pay a little extra for. But you could go to the spa and the pool and go get skiing lessons.
A 30-minute massage is free. That's fantastic. Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very much.
You're welcome, dear. And last but not least, please step up.
So Hannah steps forward. She's a very quiet, bookish looking sort of person, which is why she let everyone else go first. And she pulls her reservation out of a paper-clipped bundle and places it on the desk.
Ah, yes. Okay. All right. Well, Miss Hannah, let's see here. All right, yes. And here's your key. If you would make your way over to the mantle, place your figurine there, and everything will be good.
Thank you.
Yes, and it should be said, Hannah, as you make your way over there, you see Bailey looking around the mantle, trying to figure out where to place her figurine. Yes. And by the way, what is everyone doing? What is Monica? What is Desiree up to in this moment of kind of like, you've all arrived together. None of you know one another. But what are people up to in this moment?
Monica is looking for someone to flag down to get her a drink.
Yeah, and actually, there's a bellhop within arms, within, who started to kind of take baggage up to certain rooms, and he comes over to grab your bags.
Oh, and I'll have a Manhattan, darling. Thank you so much.
Oh, and he looks over to Ginny, and she's like,
Billy, that's all right. I'll make sure that Miss Monica gets her Manhattan, was it?
Yes. Thank you.
Coming right up.
And she seems to bark orders into, or she seems to call through the wall to the other side of, basically the other side of like her reception desk that seems to be the other side of the bar. And it seems that you hear the clinking of ice and the shaking of a liquid inside a cup. So you assume some drink is being made. And let's see. So Desiree, what are you up to in this moment?
Desiree is mainly looking around, just admiring all of the different, decor in this lodge area, and kind of forgetting every so often that she's supposed to be looking for her room, so she reminds herself a bit, and then she'll kind of like get lost a bit in something else that she's very interested in just looking at.
Yeah, and I think part of that is, especially I feel like Monica and Desiree are dealing with the long day's drive in very different ways. Monica, your drink is eventually brought over, and it's not the best Manhattan you've ever had, but it's serviceable. And Desiree, I feel like you're just kind of zoning out a little bit because it's like it was a long drive up the mountain, and a bit of a grueling, winding drive, especially with constantly having to check the map and keep your eyes on the road. It's not the easiest of drive.
Yeah, she's definitely one of those types that relies on Google Maps kind of thing, where it reads the directions for her.
Yeah.
So it was probably a little bit more taxing for her, yeah.
Oh yeah, I imagine about halfway up the mountain when your Google Maps like, take a left on, and it just cuts out.
Just the anxiety that hit.
Yes, absolutely.
That anxiety is so real. I could take the drive 1,000 times and still question and be like, but it didn't tell me to turn.
But it didn't say turn left. Why am I turning left?
Machine overlords, if you're listening, we accept your, divine rule, really.
You lead, I shall follow.
Right. So let me ask, what are Bailey and Hannah up to at this moment?
Bailey found a very comfortable chair by the mantle after she placed her figurine on the mantle, and she pulls out a rather thick book and is reading about 3/4 of the way into it.
Absolutely. And Hannah?
Hannah placed her figurine very precisely in an open spot on the mantle, and then turned around and sort of observed the room while polishing her glasses, and then turned, and I'm assuming there might be like big front windows because this is a building up on top of the mountain, right? So she's going to admire the view.
Absolutely. And you walk over to the and it should be mentioned, Ravenshead, as you guys were driving up to it, it is a building that almost looks like it was almost piecemealed together out of all of these sort of Victorian Gothic homes. And inside, it definitely feels like that. There are almost no right angles to be had. But that being said, it does provide for a lot of really interesting and intriguing views. And Hannah, as you make your way over to the windows, you just see just this beautiful expanse of the sunset and a little bit of snow falling through the air. You can see the forest below the mountain, and you try and make your eye beyond the horizon to where your hometown might be, but it's way too far at this point. But it is a beautiful sight. And yeah, so I assume that this sort of activity continues throughout the night. Ginny does come up to each of you,
sort of standing in the middle of you and says, well, I know it's late, but I just want to let you know I'm so glad to have you here, all 4 of you. You know, my staff will be on hand for the foreseeable few days, and I just want to let you know, welcome to Raven's Head, and just go get some rest and feel free to get reinvigorated in the morning for the activities.
Would it be possible for me to get an extra pillow or two?
Yes, my dear, we can totally make that happen.
Perfect, thank you.
Billy, would you? And Billy's like, he's, bit of a slack-jawed goon. Honestly, he's got a little bit of a slack jaw, and honestly, what I'm picturing in my head is Kenneth Parcell from 30 Rock. Sort of shortcut blonde hair that's slicked over to the side, just kind of goonish looking. But he's very teenager-y kid. And he's like, yes, ma'am, I'll get right on it. And he runs off to get you more pillows for your room. He's just finished moving all of the luggage to the rooms. But yes, he runs off to do that.
I think Desiree will kind of giggle at Monica's request with a warm smile on her face.
Bailey will just whisper over to Hannah and go, somebody's entitled.
Perhaps she has back problems.
I don't think she does, but maybe.
She's certainly a pain in the neck.
I like you.
Yeah, so Ginny eventually returns to her business, after making sure that all your needs are met. And you all eventually do retire at some point, I presume. If I'm wrong, let me know. But you all retire to your rooms and enjoy a fine night's rest. When you wake up, it's colder. Not uncomfortable, but it's definitely colder than when you fell asleep. Out of curiosity, who probably would be the first one to rise out of this group?
Bailey has a very strict schedule. She gets up at 7 and she stretches and gets ready for her day. She has to attain that schedule even though she's on vacation right now.
Absolutely. So it sounds like Bailey and Desiree, perhaps?
Yeah, because Desiree, considering her profession, she's used to waking up early to get ready for work. So I think she can't really get out of that even on a vacation.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I think Hannah would be in the same boat. She also gets up early for work, so yeah.
Monica's up at 9:30.
Wow. Look at all you guys. Just, so professional. I mean, I look, me on vacation, I'm not, it's 10 a.m., 11, hard, before you can get me out of bed, all right? But
that's me on a weekend. What are you talking about?
That's why it's fantasy.
I was going to say, this is a fantasy, yeah.
We're acting like we would wake up at a good time.
Fantasy Nikki has her shit together.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so actually, you all wake up and you find that the power's out, actually. And it's a little cold as you walk through the halls, but there seems to be sort of this frantic energy around Raven's Head as somebody seems to be trying to get something to happen with the generators, and yeah, there's just sort of a frantic energy happening around the resort as people are trying to do something.
Desiree would try to offer some assistance to one of them. She goes, "Oh my goodness, can I help with anything?"
And it's a portly dude with a bit of a beer belly. It's sticking out a little bit. You can't really see his eyes. He's just thick eyebrows that almost obscure his eyes, and just sort of a broad, stocky man, with the tool belt on. He's like, we were trying to get the backup generator online. Do you happen to have anything that could help with that, or?
I don't know anything about that, but I could. She starts thinking about things she could do, but she starts to hit some walls in her thoughts, and
he's just like, all right, I'll check you later, and he just walks off. And Ginny, wrapped in what looks like 2 or 3 different shawls, comes over with blankets for you all, and is like, oh, here dears, and she hands each one of you a rather thick, fluffy blanket, and she's like, Billy, would you get some coffee, hot chocolate, tea, anything for you ladies right now?
Coffee with Bailey's, thank you.
Oh, hot chocolate sounds lovely.
Ooh, chocolate? Yes, please.
Earl Grey with cream, please.
All right, and Billy, who looks like he's been up for a while trying to deal with this, has some bags under his eyes. He's just like, oh, okay, and he wanders off to get the orders. And Ginny's standing there. A bit of bad news last night. We had a bit of an avalanche on the mountain. So the it knocked out our power momentarily. We will have the backup generator online in an hour or two. But it's going to be a few days before you can leave Ravenshead. Now, this has happened before. I will cover any of the regular incidentals for your prolonged stay. And I do apologize for the inconvenience of, well, nature, but it is wont to do what it wants.
Can't you just simply hire somebody to be able to clear out the road faster?
Well, that would be convenient, but unfortunately, they're clearing it from the bottom, and I've already spoken with the Ranger's Tower, and they say that it is going to be a few days before they can make their way up to us.
I mean, we still have quite a lovely view, and everything seems quite lovely, and I think we'll be fine. I think it will be all right.
What I recommend in times like this is, please, and as she says that, the lights actually flicker back on. You feel the heat begin to return, and she's like, there you see, our generator clicked back on. So I encourage you to take advantage of everything that Ravenshead has to offer in the meantime. All right. And at this time, Billy comes back with all of the hot chocolate, the tea, the coffee, and Billy seems to have a pretty heavy hand. So those of you who asked for alcohol in your drinks, it is quite boozy, almost to the point of undrinkable, but it is
Drunk Monica.
yeah. Definitely heading that way. But no, it's. But everybody gets their warm drinks, and Ginny sort of walks off to go do her own thing. And deciding to make the most of your stay here, you guys can now get into your activities. Now, as part of your stay, you guys decided to take advantage of some of the better things that Ravenshead had to offer, some of the activities. So here's what we're going to do now, guys. So I would like you all to message me one activity that you would like to do, and you will need to roll 2d6, all right? We're then going to pair off into activities and then do those activities throughout the day, okay? All right, so we have bird watching, and then we have a swim in the heated pool. Between, there's a short conversation about, who would like to do what. And it's not so much a conversation so much because you don't really know you don't know each other, but you see people going to do things and you're like, I wonder what's over there. And so you sort of end up following people. Let's see. So Hannah, you are outside. You were given a pair of binoculars, and you're actually looking for birds outside when you hear the crunching of footsteps behind you.
We'll turn around and see who's coming.
That happens to be Bailey. Bailey is has followed you outside to to see what you were up to. She was handed some binoculars as well. So the two of you are out there bird watching.
Oh, hello.
I heard that there are some really pretty, and she's like looking through a book, these ones, and she points at one of the bird names that I don't know off the top of my head.
She's fishing for bird names.
Snowy owl. Snowy owl. Sure,
yeah.
There's some
Google
snowy
random
owls in
birds.
That's pretty much exactly what I'm doing. What state are we in?
That's what I was like, oh my god, where are we?
Oh no.
What state is this?
Snowy owl works, yeah.
Winter birds in
Northern cardinal, tufted titmouse, chickadees, woodpeckers.
I heard there are some beautiful northern cardinals in this area at this time of year.
Perfect.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah, so tell you what, guys, you're looking around and there's a lot of snow. I mean, it's kind of dawning on you guys like there's a lot of coverage, and you guys are actually fighting to get through the snow. So who would like to try and lead this charge through the snow?
I can organize the snow real good, but that's about all I got.
Okay.
I love that. I'm gonna organize that snow so good, you don't even know what happened.
You know what? Sure.
I don't have a survival skill.
I was going to say, as a high school science teacher, I probably do some environmental science education, so I might know something about how safely to walk through the snow.
Yeah, okay,
Of course you went without science. I love it. Stick it on the brand.
For those of you who are listening, basically what's happening is this. The way that the rules work are whenever there's a challenge that's presented in front of these players, it is sort of loosely based on Powered by the Apocalypse. So it's a 2d6 with 10 plus being success, 9 to 7 being a bargain, and 6 or below being a failure. If they can add their profession or any one of their 3 skills, it is a +1, or sorry, your profession is a +1, and you have 3 skills that are ranked from +1, +2, and +3. So what's happening here is they're trying to figure out what is going to be the best way to get through this particular problem. And I think Hannah has the solution of being a science teacher. So yeah, I'll let you add your profession. So roll 2d6 and add your +1.
Oh, wow. Well, the +1 brings it to a 7. Yikes.
Wow. Okay. Well, first roll, congratulations. Second of all, the bargain's going to be this. You can choose to find your way through. You may get a little colder than you'd like. You may get more snow in your boots, and that may affect you later on. Or you can just choose to, take the fail.
I don't mind wet feet if it means we get to see some beautiful birds.
All right. So you're trudging through the snow, and you're kind of kicking it, and it's getting in your boots, and it's not a particularly pleasant experience. You're trudging through, and it's a little frustrating, but you are paving a path. So what else are you guys doing to try and find these birds?
I can use my ability to have read a bunch of books to figure out the best place to hide where the birds would be nesting.
So one of your skills is reading?
Research.
Oh, research. Okay, yeah, absolutely. And you have that book, so I imagine you're probably thumbing through it and trying to be like, all right, well, where are these things going to be hidden? So yeah, give me a roll.
Don't roll double ones again. Hey, it's a 10 + 1 or +3, so 13.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hannah, as you're trudging through the snow and you're thinking, oh god, this kind of sucks. Bailey is rattling off some facts and pointing to what look to be kind of gnarls in the tree that were. You guys suspect that there should be some birds hanging out close to these areas. Yeah, and So one of the things that you're seeing is that there's a lot of snow in the trees, and you imagine you might have to get rid of some of it before you're able to see the cardinals. You're thinking they gotta be up there, but there's a lot of snow in the trees.
Oh, well, I don't have a snow removal suggestion, but Hannah will use her remember skill to, true story for Cheryl, remember back to going birding with her grandfather as a child and knowing that making sounds, it's called pishing for birds, but basically you make some whispery or squeaky sounds with your mouth and it will actually call in songbirds because that sound mimics a songbird in peril, like it's being eaten by a predator, and the other songbirds in the area will flock in so that they can see the predator so that they also don't get eaten.
Heck yeah! All right, give me a roll for that. And what are you using to? Are you adding anything to the roll or?
Yeah, her remember skill.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I love that.
Okay, so that's a 9 on the dice plus 3 is a 12.
Oh yeah, easily a success. Yeah, so Hannah, you begin to I'm sorry, what was the verb there?
It's called pishing, so PSH, like psh, 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 psh is the sound you make. Or you can also make kissy lips and kind of squeak. I'm not as good at that one, and I'm also not going to subject podcast listeners to the squeaking. But making sounds like that mimic the alarm calls of songbirds.
They all thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, so you begin to pish, and as you do, you both begin to hear a little chittering, and slowly out of this blanket of white on the canopy, you start to see little red specks, and you start to see the cardinals come out, and it is like a really crazy sight because it's like out of this just sort of blanket of white, these little red dots sort of flash into existence. and then disappear. And it's crazy because there's so much snow in the canopy that it's not even that you see them fly in, it's like you see them land and then they're just gone. But it's a pretty incredible sight.
Look at that, Bailey. You were right.
Birds are way more pretty than in the books.
Absolutely.
Nice. So guys, that activity is a success. Yeah, because the way it works is you're looking for 3 successes or 3 failures between the actions taken by the group during an activity, and so that will be a success. So good job, guys.
Bird watching a success, or is mine also a success? Because I didn't technically have bird watching.
Bird watching is a success.
Okay.
Yep.
Would you like to go for a hike?
Sounds
We're
lovely.
already out here. Fantastic.
Yeah,
I'll let you go to the other 2 people, but then we'll continue on our hike.
There we go. And that'll probably take the next half of your day. Deciding to get some pool time in. Desiree, you are at the pool, yes?
Yeah, I think Desiree wants to warm up a little bit more, and she's been she's never probably been to a heated pool before, so she's kind of interested.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it's actually really interesting. You actually get into... You're in the pool, and it's heated, and there's steam just rising everywhere. And you look up to the ceiling, and it's interesting, right? Because it's partially tiled in this... arc of the room is sort of an arc shape the entire way down, but parts of the tile work are actually interrupted by actual bits of stone, so you get the sense that part of Ravenshead actually does like back into the mountain that it's on, and it's a pretty interesting sight actually. And as you're swimming back and forth, you see Monica Marsh enter. And Monica, what are you doing at the pool?
Well, she walks in and she looks at the pool and she goes, ugh, it's a little small.
And it's... We're talking about a pool that is at least... crud, I'm really bad at distance estimation. But it's a fairly nicely sized pool for something that would be indoors. But I imagine Monica has probably seen much more elegance in pool design and mansions of where you come from.
And she goes, ugh, fine, it'll do. And she takes her towel and she lays it down on one of the chairs. And she puts her, she brought sunglasses, even though there was no need to bring sunglasses to an indoor pool.
Sure.
And she takes them off. And she goes and she dives in the deep end very gracefully.
Okay, well, let's see how well you dive. Give me a roll for that.
All right, can I be charming? No, probably not.
Probably not, no.
That's a 5.
Ooh, that is... so, Monica, you're trying to draw on swim lessons you had when you were a child, and time has happened since then. And so you go to dive, and it is just completely awkward, and you hit the water with a resounding slap, and it does sting a little bit. And Desiree, I imagine you react with a little bit of a giggle as Monica breaches back up and is gasping for air as the hit of the water knocks the air out of her.
Desiree will actually applaud her.
Okay, nice.
Monica just rolls her eyes. Huh.
Oh, I'm sorry, was that not okay? And she'll look at her hands.
I don't need you mocking me.
I wasn't trying to. She looks a bit confused.
A likely story.
Let's see if it is. Desiree, why don't you give me, because you're trying to basically you're not really trying, you're trying to basically persuade. So give me some sort of roll for trying to persuade Monica that you're not.
Well, yeah, Desiree wants to make friends, so she's basically trying to charm here.
Oh, yeah. So why don't you give me a roll for that, and you can add any of your skills or your occupation, you can add those.
Okay. That is a 10 plus 3, so 13.
Yeah, alright, so Monica, you're not
You'll
used
be my friend. No matter what.
Yeah, I mean, so Monica, you're not used to, I don't know, I guess, the common people, and you're like, oh, maybe maybe she might be telling the truth here. It's a little lowbrow, but she might be earnest in some way.
And she swims over to Desiree, and she holds out a hand to shake, and she says, "Monica Marsh."
Oh, and she'll quickly shake the hand.
Desiree Middleton. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
It is, that's why I said it.
She looks confused.
Monica, why don't you give me a charm roll? I think you're trying to be charming.
Well, that's one of her skills, so that is a 9.
9. Okay. Yeah. So I think you have an option here, right? You either choose that you successfully make friends. Your nails actually do scratch Desiree on the hand as you go to shake hands, or you accidentally get water splashed at you from Desiree as this all is happening.
I think she does a lot of handshakes in her line of work, so I think that she probably does not scratch her. I think she does get splashed a little, and she goes, "Ugh," but she allows it.
Yeah. And it's between that, it's like your eyes are starting to get a little itchy because it's like from hitting the water and also you getting water splashed at you. But you are successfully making friends. So yeah. So as you guys are chatting, you notice a man in his early 20s, shirtless in a Speedo, very He-Man-ly looking, gets up on the on the lifeguard tower. Is like, "Oh, I didn't notice that you guys were in here, but please continue. I'm just gonna take my watch and make sure everyone's staying safe."
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for keeping an eye on us.
Monica rolls her eyes.
Yeah, and he just takes his... Oh, yes, Nikki, that is probably true.
For podcast listeners, I just typed in the Discord chat, "He's the murderer." That's all.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Context needed.
No context. So Desiree and Monica, are you guys trying to what are you trying to do with your pool time here? Are you trying to do some laps, or how do you enjoy this indoor pool experience?
Well, I don't think Desiree is attempting to look like she knows what she's doing with swimming. She's not a good swimmer, so she's probably just relaxing more. She's probably more reminiscing about her family back at home. She's a little homesick, and I think actually the reason she laughed a little bit with Monica is also because of that original homesickness that was starting.
Yeah. So why don't you give me a roll to try to relax? Let's see how well you can relax. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it's on brand for Desiree. It's like, is Desiree relaxing? We don't know.
That's 5.
No.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. The answer is no. Desiree, you're trying to float, but it's more of this it's like when a child learns how to float and they're just thrashing at the water as they try and stay afloat. And it's Monica, I think you probably have noticed this as you're doing whatever you're doing to try and enjoy your pool time. And it's a little hard with Desiree just splashing like a loon.
You have to arch your back.
Yeah. So Monica, why don't you give me a You're trying to instruct, basically. So why don't you pass on some sort of lesson. So why don't we see how well you can pass on that knowledge to Desiree.
Okay. Ooh, that was pretty good. That's an 11.
Hey, an 11. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So Monica, you actually you swim over and you do the thing where you put your hands on under Desiree's back, keep her afloat a little bit, and then slowly remove the hands. And Desiree, it's before you know it, you're just floating around the pool. And
she is super excited.
Yeah, you get excited for a moment, and then you realize, oh, wait, I can't get too excited. Then I'll stop floating.
She's keeping completely still with this weird smile on her face, this excited, childlike wonder on her face as she's trying her best to stay still and follow the instructions that she was given.
Yes. But with that, you guys have your 3 successes. So swimming was a success, and it's a nice time. The steam is rising. You are both getting warm. It's definitely a nice change from earlier this morning. Yeah, and then we are going to shift into afternoon. So let's jump on over to Bailey and Hannah, who are now hiking. Yeah, so it's cold, right? I mean, you guys have been out there all morning, and now you're out there in the afternoon. So it's cold. Yeah, so let me ask, who's taking point on this hiking expedition, trying to get up the mountain?
I believe Hannah's probably better at it.
I was the one breaking trail before, so sure.
Yeah. Hannah, why don't you give me a roll, please?
Nothing like breaking trail in 4 feet of fresh powder. Oh, and am I still able to add teacher to that?
You are.
Okay, so that's another 7.
Yeah, I think here's what happens, right? So the snow that was in your boots, your wet feet, have now become a problem. You can't feel your toes, and you guys are pretty far from Raven's Head at this point. You've gotten far enough where it's gonna take some doing to get back, but you suddenly realize, like, my feet really hurt. Oh, I might be getting the very beginning of frostbite. This is not good. We need to get back.
I read a thing about this, maybe. A way to combat frostbite is... And she's like floundering and trying to remember what she read.
Yeah, why don't you give me a roll for that, Bailey. Let's see what you do remember.
I got a 7.
Yeah, so 7. So you get a bargain. I will say that you can. So you can basically remember how to fix the frostbite, or you can spend your time making a sled to get back to the lodge quicker. You can remember one of those bits of information.
We can stop the frostbite. I read about this, and she'll take off her outer layer, even though it's a bad idea, and start wrapping it around Hannah's feet to help them stay warm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you guys are trying to stay warm, and Hannah, your feet do start returning to normal. You start to feel the blood circulating back in them, and your feet start to dry off a little bit, and so that is good. So Bailey, I think you now have another issue, which is you've taken off your outer layer. So how are you trying to stay warm in this moment when you need to kind of like keep Hannah's feet warm, but also keep yourself warm?
Just get back to the inn as quickly as possible.
I agree.
Yeah. So how are we getting back as quickly as possible?
Well, it would make the most sense for us to use the trail we've already broken.
Okay. She's shivering.
Yeah, so I think here's what I'd like. I think you're both gonna make rolls for me, and we're just gonna see how quickly you guys get back.
Okay. Also, you can totally have your coat back because I can't walk with it wrapped around both of my feet.
Fair. I take my coat back.
Are we adding anything to these rolls?
You tell me. If there is something that you think will apply, you can basically make the case for me to add. And then I will say, like, yes or no.
I can listen really well to Hannah's directions.
Maybe not.
Then I got an 8.
I will remember landmarks that we passed on our hike up.
Okay.
That is a 9.
Okay. All right. So both bargains. So yeah. So I think one of two things can happen here. I think the bargain is so either one of you makes it back, and then the other one has to kind of finish this out, or you will both take you'll take a failure, and I'll let you do the next roll at +1 because you're being a bit more careful about getting back.
No woman left behind.
Aw, thanks.
So you guys are going to take the failure. So you're at 2 failures, 1 success, and so why don't you guys give me another roll, because it's starting. The sun's starting to go down and it's starting to get a little cold. So yes, you guys really do need to get back.
Did you say this is at a +1?
This is at a +1, yes.
And I have an 11.
Me too.
Oh, nice guys, nice. So here's what I think happens. So you guys make it back. You're running through the snow. You're frantically trying to get back. You know, it's kind of this exhilarating run. because it's cold and you guys are trying to get the blood moving, but it's also a little scary, which is also kind of exciting in a way. And you guys make it back just as it starts to get really dark. And you guys are standing in the doorway at Raven's Head, and you look back out, and that's when you notice how dark it really is up here in the mountains.
Oh, that was quite an adventure.
I am so glad we survived. That was
Yes.
terrifying. Never going hiking again.
Not with this much snow without snowshoes, certainly.
What's snowshoe?
Well, I'll have to show you later this week.
Okay.
Yeah, so while you guys are good, I do not think hiking is a success. You guys are safe, but I don't think the activity is a success. So hiking will not be a success. And let's cut to I think this would make sense. So I think after the swim, Monica gets out of the pool and heads on over to the spa, only to be followed by Desiree.
It's the perfect time to go get a massage immediately after working out. It's better for the muscles.
Oh, I've never experienced one before.
Yeah, and there's a guy with thick, strong hands in there, and he's kind of an older gentleman, but he says, "Please, lay down. I will get the knots out." You guys lay down on the table, and he and another attendant begin to give you guys massages. And Desiree, I think you might still be trying to relax, so why don't you give me a roll for that? Let's see how well you both relax.
Roll double ones. I really can't relax right now.
I rolled a 7.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Monica, you have a bargain, and your bargain basically is this: you can take success for the team, but all of Desiree's rolls will be at -1 for the remainder of this activity. Or I will say you can just, power through it and try and calm her down next time.
Well, Monica is selfish, so she is going to take the first option where Desiree's
I don't even blame you.
rolls are at -1. So she just kind of tunes her out. Maybe she takes her headphones and puts in her phone or turns on some music so that she can ignore Desiree not being able to relax.
I ain't even mad.
Actually, I'm just curious, what does Monica Marsh put on? What is in her iTunes?
That's a good question. What would it be?
Trashy teen pop. No.
I was gonna say Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay, same thing. No, I'm kidding.
that track. You put on some T Swift, and you're just grooving along. Yeah, why don't you give me another roll, Monica, to see if that actually does effectively block out Desiree's freaking out, and we'll get to you in a minute, Desiree.
No worries.
That's a 4.
I'm sorry.
It's really good while your phone has battery, but unfortunately, your phone, because the power went out last night, did not charge fully, and you're just saying, "Shake it off, shake," and it just cuts out. And that's when we cut to Desiree, who basically is screaming bloody murder as, the attendant tries to work out, the kinks in her back. And
it was either that or laughing like crazy, like she's super ticklish or something. One of the two, I assumed.
I imagine it's kind of a mix of the two. It's kind of like,
there's no in-between that she can find.
Yes. So Desiree, what are you trying to do? How do you deal with this whole situation?
I'm going to try to... I have a skill, Intuit, which I'm guessing is intuition. I'm going to try and kind of read this guy who's giving me a massage so I can kind of understand what he's going to do next. So to maybe brace myself so I'm not such a laughy fool or in pain.
Yeah, absolutely. That totally applies. So
okay.
So you'll add... So what is that skill at?
It's a +2, so then I have to subtract 1, so it's a +1.
There we go. Yep.
Okay. Oh gosh. It's a 5. It would have been a 6, but it doesn't even matter.
Okay, so it's a 5. Yeah. So that's a failure, obviously. So you roll off the table, knocking yourself into Monica's table, which also rolls over. The both of you are just in a huddle on the floor, and it is not a relaxing time at all. The entire massage is a complete failure.
Oh no. Desiree will feel so bad.
What are you doing?
I don't know, honestly. I'm so sorry.
Just get up, and she does extend a hand down to help Desiree up.
She is probably actually crying, like she's sniffling a little bit, and she'll take the hand and pull herself up, and she'll start wiping her eyes.
Yeah, and the two of you make your way to your feet, and the attendants are just like head bowed, like just completely embarrassed by all of this, and they're trying to extend platitudes and their condolences, and obviously they invite you back, but this activity was a failure. So we are going to go into our first nightfall.
What's that music that they put in between intermissions? Like the vaudeville, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, guys, I'm sorry. This would go so much quicker if we had
I still
notes.
love that though. Like I imagine just some intermission music playing right now.
All right, so guys, you guys are with varying success, right? You're at your first nightfall, and a nice spread of food has been prepared for you guys, and that's sort of the activity that Jenny has chosen to like have for you guys. Just a nice dinner, so you guys can sort of talk about your day and get to know one another. And Jenny's at the table as well, and she's like,
Please come sit, join me. Tell me about your day. Tell me about everything. Yes.
We almost died from frostbite.
Oh dear, that's not good.
Can I get a compensation of like a really good massage because we almost died, or
I think you might want to hold off on the massage. And actually, Ginny, I was going to offer you maybe I don't know if I could pay you to hire somebody else to be a masseuse here or something, but it was just completely and utterly a disaster, and it was not acceptable.
Oh,
I cannot recommend the spa.
Desiree is still sniffling a bit.
Oh, I'm so sorry, my dear. I will keep that in mind for my hires for next season. Unfortunately, because the road up here is blocked, I unfortunately won't be able to get anyone. But Christian and Hans they're both very, very good. I've had their massages. I'm not quite sure. I encourage you to go back on another day. Maybe it was just an off experience. But
it had nothing to do with them. I'm so sorry. She's just sniffling again.
Oh dear. Well, here. Why don't you enjoy some of the food that we prepared?
And by the way, it's like Ginny has pulled out some of the nicer food. We're talking prime rib, asparagus, nice little fingerling potatoes with a little bit of rosemary. Very nice, like a very nice, fresh, like spring salad. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice spread, and for basically what ends up being like 5 people plus the staff that's there. As the meal continues,
So I heard that bird watching had happened earlier?
Oh yes, we had a lovely time.
Oh, wonderful. Did you see the cardinals?
We did. There were so many of them.
so pretty?
Yes, they are very lovely this time of year. It's always so nice. And I heard you two ladies.
And she puts one hand on Desiree, who's I think is still a little misty-eyed, but and trying to give her bolster her spirits a little bit. Puts one hand on her hand.
I heard that you two ladies went for a swim in our pool.
Oh, yes, it was a lovely pool.
Ah, good.
And at that moment, it's been a mixed bag of a day. Obviously, this moment of well, this could be nice, but this just seems to be getting worse by the second. At which point you hear,
What was that?
That was a scream, right?
yes. So I need you all to roll 2d6.
Ooh, pretty good. 10. 10. 6 plus 4.
I also got a 10.
Double 4s for an 8.
I got a 3.
Okay.
It happens to all of us. I'm with you in solace.
So all of a sudden you all stand up from your chairs. The wood screech against the floor. Jenny says,
Quickly, find out who that was.
You all spread out, and I think it's because Monica and Desiree were with each other to begin with throughout the day. The two of you take off, and you both are running through the halls, footsteps falling on the wooden floor rapidly, and you come across a ghastly sight. There is a young woman dead. There is lying in a pool of her own blood. She has a knife sticking out of her chest. It is a very ghastly scene. She is very clearly dead. The power flickers, and every one of you, even those of you who are searching in Raven's Head, stop. And the power it's sort of at half lilt, so you hear this eerie child's voice come through the intercom system.
Broken figure, someone died. Take a chance or believe these lies.
The lights then flicker back on, and the rest of you arrive at the murder scene.
Oh dear.
Ginny says,
Oh dear, that's all you have to say?
The fuck was that?
Who is it?
Desiree looks like she's in shock, and she's holding a cross that she's wearing.
Did anybody else hear that really creepy kid voice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any kids here?
No, it's a children-free resort. I'm going to go signal the detective's office. Please, excuse me, ladies. Hans?
Oh, what? Oh my.
Get a blanket, please. Ginny seems rather distraught and just a little taken back by the whole matter. But the four of you are standing around the body as Hans comes over with, a blanket and like a bit of bed sheets and literally just drapes it over the girl. The blood begins to seep into the white linen, and it's clearly not enough. But but the four of you are standing there.
I am looking around for the sign of a little creepy kid. Because I'm just imagining, like, they're gonna come back.
Yeah, to clarify, the sound came from the intercom system, and you haven't seen any children since you've
I know.
been here? Okay,
She's
cool.
determined that it's a creepy kid, though.
Okay, yep, you've seen some movies in your time, sure, yep, Bailey watches some movies, okay, cool, yep. Yeah, how is everyone else reacting to it?
Do we see any details of you said there was a knife, right, before the sheet was thrown over?
Yeah, they're and actually, yeah, I mean, there's a knife in her chest, so clearly whoever it was, saw the killer before they died. And yeah, and that's about it. But she is splayed out on the floor.
Sorry, I was asking like is it like a steak knife, a hunting knife? Like, did we
I
tell
see.
anything about it before the sheet was thrown over?
Looks to be a kitchen knife. Yeah. Sort of like a vegetable prep knife, general chef's knife. Yeah.
Desiree wants to look around and see, because of the child's singing voice, the break a figure part. She wants to see if there's maybe a broken figure near the mantle or something.
Yes. So Desiree, you make your way over to the mantle, and sure enough, you find a shattered figurine at the base of the fireplace, and it is of the woman. So currently, right now, there are only 4 figurines left on the mantelpiece, 1 for each of you, and the remains of the woman who has just died.
Maybe if we hold on to our figurine, we'll be fine, right?
I'm not sure. That doesn't... I mean, Desiree's obviously very shaken. She's like clutching the cross still as she's looking around.
We need the cops here yesterday.
At that, Ginny does come up and says,
Dear, they're still having trouble getting up the mountain. It's going to be some time before they make it to us. But I have alerted the detective, and he will be here as soon as they manage to make it up the mountain.
Ginny, you just seem very calm about this. It's like people end up with knives in their chests in your hotel all the time.
No, dear. Fortunately, that's something that doesn't happen. We have had people get lost in snowdrifts and such. I mean, Raven's Head is no stranger to danger, because we, after all, are a resort on top of a mountain, but unfortunately, there's little we can do until they actually arrive.
I'm amused by your stranger to danger, but I don't say anything out loud.
What I recommend is this. Keep your wits about you. As you continue to move around Raven's Head, I recommend that you move in groups. My staff will be trying to keep an eye out for things as well. We just have to be safe and careful until the authorities can arrive.
Well, the thing that somebody seems to be missing here is that someone here is the killer.
Yes, that seems to be what the facts are laying out to be.
And an air of tenseness crosses over the room. The 4 of you looking at each other, looking at the staff, looking at the figures on the mantelpiece, thinking about the words of the child, the body that you've just seen. It's all a lot to take in.
Well, it couldn't have been us 4. We were together.
And as you say that, you all begin to think about it. There was a moment when each one of you stepped away at some point, and you think about it, the child's voice was recording. Could the scream also have been a recording? And it's all starting to add up to be, there are moments when each one of you could not have accounted for the other's time. And that dawns on you, Bailey, especially, as you say that. And I think the rest of you sort of slowly come to that realization.
Ginny, dear, I will give you $10,000 cash if you hire somebody to get us off this mountain today.
There is absolutely nothing I can do. There's no... The air is too thin for a chopper to get to us. Literally, we have to just wait for the crew to come and dig us out. I mean, I suppose that you could Hans, Chris, and the two burly Swissmen come over, and they're like, yes. Why don't you, in the morning, why don't you both try to dig out a little bit more snow? And they look at her like she's just said something that is kind of ridiculous, and she just sort of just do what you can. Monica, dear, hold on to your money. It's really, in this sort of situation, is a little good. And she pats you on the hand. I fully recommend that everyone try and get a restful night, and we can figure out what to do about this in the morning. And I've already contacted the police, and they will be here as soon as they can, okay?
Well, I don't think we should try to leave anyway without the cops being here, because just because you have money doesn't mean you can get away with things. And what if you were the one that was just flaunting your money to get out of here?
You think I would stab someone? Ew.
You're angry enough to do a lot of things.
Desiree, in like her sobs as she's holding her cross, no, Monica wouldn't do anything like that. We spent the entire time together. She's such a lovely person.
Are you talking the same person as I am?
Well, I mean, maybe if you spent a day with her, maybe you would understand a bit more. She's not that bad. I mean, I enjoyed my time with her. She's been very forgiving. I mean, I messed up the spa day. Yes, that's very true. But she's a wonderful person. I think we all are quite wonderful. So conflicted. And she holds the cross a little bit closer as she's sobbing.
Oh, dears. Why don't we pick this up in the morning? Yes?
And there kind of is a moment of tenseness as you all stare at each other in kind of this, especially between Bailey and Monica, as the accusations have been flying. But after a moment, it is decided that really there is little that can be done, and you all retire to your rooms. And an uneasy night of sleep takes you all. And let's see. So, just to let you guys know what's happening here. As you guys are sleeping, the crews are working through the night. It is a secret roll that I make to see how much progress they have made. So I'm going to do that roll now. Okay, cool.
You made 0 progress. We're going to solve.
Yeah.
Negative progress. There's more snow.
You went backwards.
The road clearing process crew does roll 2d6 every day. It is 5 miles to Raven's Head, and each one on the die gives a point of a mile. So they're trying to get to a total of 50, basically, for 5 miles. And you guys don't know how much progress they've made, but I'm keeping track of that. So we're going to begin day 2. As all of you come to consciousness, not having slept incredibly well, but you do awake to the smell of breakfast, and it is a generous spread. I mean, we're talking bacon, salted ham.
Jenny's trying to win us over because she's the murderer.
Oh yeah, they're stroopwafels and fine Danish pastries.
She is able to make fine Danish pastries, but we can't get freaking tow truck up here. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. But Monica, you do actually go to the window at the front of the resort, and you do see Hans and Chris out front. They are shoveling snow, but the progress they're making is laughable. They are 2 dudes with shovels who are just trying to do what they can. But it's not much.
She goes, ugh, and rolls her eyes.
Yeah.
What else do you expect them to do? They're people. You want to go help them?
I might break a nail.
No, not a nail. You might die, which is worse.
Somebody might die, at least.
She stares at her suspiciously.
At that, Ginny does come up to you all and says, well, I spent a lot of time thinking about it last night. Without anything else to do, I recommend that we be careful, obviously, but I encourage you to try and enjoy Raven's Head as best you can, because literally we are in a holding pattern until the road crew can try and get to us. I do apologize for that. It is hard and difficult. I must admit, I've seen a lot of things on the mountain in my 50 plus years here. This is one of the more terrifying things that has happened, and I am sorry that all of you are here for it, and that I cannot expedite your departure in any way.
Can I have like the stiffest, most like the biggest, stiffest drink that you sell, please?
Yes, Rebecca. And you see you're actually sitting in the main dining room, and the bar is sort of attached to the dining room, and you see a sort of in her 20s, a woman with a pixie cut and tattoos all up and down her arms, and she's, rather muscular, and she sort of gives you a thumbs up and, kind of begins to make you something that's stiff.
I hand my card over to her, because I'm assuming the cheaper services or alcohol isn't included in the bill.
Yes. And she takes it back and runs it. So you guys are talking for a minute, and you're sipping your drink, and I highly recommend that everyone tries to take advantage of the activities up here, and just be careful, really. Rebecca comes back and whispers to Ginny, and they're whispering back and forth for a moment. And Rebecca's like, the card's not working, And Ginny's like, oh, it's fine. And she hands the card back to you, Bailey, and says, well, it seems like your card didn't work, but don't worry, this drink is on the house. Don't worry about it, my dear.
Looks super embarrassed, but tries to like play it off with like, oh, it must be the banks are down right now or something. It's really weird that the card got declined.
Perhaps it's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, I will leave you all to it. Please try to enjoy this day. And she awkwardly walks off, and it seems she's having a hard time knowing what to do with this. I mean, you guys get the sense that this is her home, and sort of that this very dangerous thing has happened right under her nose. And it's hard. You can tell that it is hard for her to deal with it. But with that being said, the day is yours. What would you guys like to try and do? So now we're getting into the activities for the morning for day 2. So we're going to roll 2d6, and you're going to choose one of your activities. Whoever is the killer, you have a particular task of... You are going to write down 2 numbers. You are going to tell me which one of them you are at. But on both of those, you will list a way in which an activity could be halted, could be prevented. And so type me those orders, okay?
All gonna die.
All gonna die. That's the waiting music.
Who's gonna die? Everybody's gonna die. Probably by stupidity.
Probably. Alright guys, so let's see, the very first thing that's happening is we're gonna go to Bailey, who is in the library, and just reading, and she is joined by Desiree.
This is where I die, guys.
So Desiree, you find Bailey just reading in the library, and how do you approach?
Desiree is probably still a sniffling mess as she's carrying, it looks like a scrapbook that she was going to work on. And she just goes, I'm sorry, could I maybe work in here? I'm terrified to be alone.
I mean, I guess I'm just reading.
Fine, I don't want to bother you or anything. I just wanted to work on my project, that's all.
Have you been crying all night?
Maybe, I can't, I've lost track of the time.
She looks at her watch. Well, it's 10 a.m. So if you've been crying all night, you should probably drink some water. Might help.
I guess you're probably right, yes. And she'll, like, go to her bag that she carries with her at all times, and she'll start to, like, search through all the papers and pull out a bottle of water and start to drink it.
Yeah, and I think at this point, Desiree, you begin to your breathing becomes a little bit more ragged and a little bit more haggard, and and you just begin to sort of, Bailey, you're kind of identifying this as the beginning of a panic attack, as Desiree is not really able to calm down. So how do you handle that?
Desiree, why don't you talk to me for a little bit? I'm a great listener. I will listen as much as you want as you just talk and take a deep breath and calm down. It's okay. In her head, she's like, she's probably gonna kill me. This is probably a trap, but this is fine.
Bailey, give me a roll for this, please, to try and listen. See how well you are received at being a listener.
8.
Okay. I guess the hard choice is this: either Desiree is rolling at -1 for the remainder of the activity, and you're not able to do it, or you can take a fail and calm Desiree down.
I guess I will calm Desiree down.
Okay.
I'm not gonna finish any of my activities.
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, but Desiree, you do start drinking your water, and it does start to calm you down, and you can sort of feel, like, okay, like maybe things aren't so bad.
Mine is the murder and stuff, but other than that, things aren't so bad.
Right.
So her
right.
breathing picks up a little bit again if that's brought up again.
It's not.
Okay.
Just out of character.
Yeah, let's do this. I would like to have rolls from each one of you. Desiree, you're trying to put the scrapbook together.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey, you are trying to read. So why don't we get rolls from each one of you trying to do each one of your respective activities, okay?
Can I use my prepare skill for this since it's a scrapbook?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Can I use my research skill? I'm researching how to identify murderers.
Sure. Yeah.
Because for some reason, that's a book that's here in the library.
I rolled an 11.
Okay, yeah. So Desiree, you are putting together the scrapbook, and out of curiosity, what is the scrapbook of? I mean, what's inside it?
There are pictures of family members, and it looks like a vacation album of some kind. And it has to do a little bit with a teenage girl who is posing with a lot of photos with Desiree.
Okay, nice.
Just treating those pictures with a lot of care.
Nice, excellent. And Bailey, what did you get for your reading?
I got a 10.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so you managed to, read. It's not so much that there's a book about, like, how to identify murderers, but it's more pulp murder novels, basically. And, so it's more like pulp murder novels, and you're kind of trying to put together this profile, and, like, you feel like you might be coming in on something, right?
By the end of this novel, I will be as good as the bad detective in this book.
Right, exactly. Like, you're like, man, I can be at least as good as, Montgomery Hardcastle, P.I. We need one more check here. Do either one of you sort of, ask the other about what they're doing? Like, does Bailey look over to the scrapbook? Does Desiree look at the book that Bailey's reading?
I will glance at the scrapbook and go, that looks good.
You. It's been a work in progress for a while now.
Is that your sister, friend?
Oh, no, that's my daughter.
Bailey tilts her head confused. As
I seem quite young. Yes, I understand. No, this is my daughter Sophia, and and
she'll actually start crying a little bit as she thinks.
Sorry, it's
I didn't mean to bring up bad feelings. Sorry.
No, it's a mixed emotion. I think mostly. I just miss her so much.
I think, Desiree, you probably need to roll at this point to sort of keep it together, to not just completely burst out in complete tears at this point. Some hard memories you're dealing with here.
Okay. I don't think I have any skills for that. No, keep composure skill. All right, here we go. I dropped a die on the ground. No. That's a 9.
Okay. So I think one of two things. I think either you can keep your composure and remove yourself from the scene, or you can, stay there and sort of begin to cry, and then Bailey might have to do something to try and calm you down.
I don't think she would want to bring down the mood, because she already really ruined Monica's day. at the spa. So I think she'll kind of just go, excuse me, and she'll start to kind of rush out of the room with her scrapbook.
Yeah, absolutely.
You forgot your water bottle. Oh, never mind. I'll just bring it to her later.
Yeah. Bailey, what do you do with the remainder of your time in the library? It's just you there.
I will continue to finish reading.
All right, give me a reading check, a research check.
It's a really good, bad PI novel. That is a 9.
That's a 9. Okay. I think the bargain here is this. Either you are going to find out something a little bit more about killers in general, and it'll be a failure, which will actually be your 3rd failure, or you basically have a good time in the library and succeed on the activity, but you aren't going to learn anything more about the killer. So it's like, do you want the activity success? Do you want your time reading as a whole to be a success, or do you want to actually learn something about killers in general?
I want my time to be a success because I can't have my hike back.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So you get to the end of this novel and you're reading it and you're like, oh, like I'm so close to figuring it out, and the last 30 pages are eroded. They're missing.
Oh my God.
They fell out so long ago, and you will never know what happened to Gregory Hardcastle.
I immediately go to the front desk and go, this is appalling.
That is not good.
Who dies? Who did it? You can't just not have the last 30 pages of a murder mystery novel. I need to know. I'm this close to knowing who killed someone in the book.
And Ginny just tries to give you platitudes, but nothing that she can say will be able to rectify the fact that she does not remember what happens in this novel. And yeah, and given that all the cell connections out, that you won't be able to Google it until you get home.
It's not like I can buy it online. I don't have any freaking money.
This is true. We're gonna hop over. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nikki internally is having this is absurd. How dare you?
I'm glad I know that's a button. Hannah, we're gonna jump on over to Hannah. Who actually? Wait, no. You actually we can't go there. So Hannah, you actually try and go get a hot stone massage, and that's when you realize that Hans and Chris,
they're outside shoveling snow. Yeah.
They're outside shoveling snow. Yeah. So you actually go to find Monica, who is trying to do yoga. And there's a little back deck area that's screened in and has heaters, and Monica has rolled out a yoga mat and is going through some stretches. And Monica, that's when you notice Hannah walk up.
Hi. Are you just gonna stand there?
Would you mind if I joined?
Go right ahead.
I promise I'll be quiet.
That's sort of the point of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Monica, why don't you give me a roll to see if you are actually trying to be charming or not?
Oh no, probably not. That's an 8. So
An 8. Okay. So you could do one of two things. You can take a failure and have Hannah's next roll be at +1. Basically being sincere, right? And saying oh yeah, you can join even though you really don't want her to. Or you can have all of Hannah's rolls be at -1 for the activity, and then take a +3 to your next roll.
You know my answer.
You're taking that +3. Okay.
Yeah. Sure am.
Yeah, Hannah, you feel awkward as you roll out the mat, and it's a little uncomfortable as you start to go into your yoga stretches, and you can kind of hear Monica huffing and puffing. But how do you try and diffuse the tension?
Oh goodness.
Or do you? I mean, how do you react in this situation?
That's the thing. I think, I guess my impression is that she just wants to be left alone, so I would probably just sort of do my own thing.
Okay, yeah. So, do you have a So I guess you're trying to block her out, really, right? Like that might be, you're basically trying to go to your mind palace and just kind of like, do your own thing. Yeah, give me a roll for that.
Do you have a skill in mind that would be applicable to that?
Well, really, I think the way that the skills in this game work is that, if you can basically make an argument for why one of your things would work, then I will listen to it.
Okay. I have 3 different arguments ready to go. You can decide which one you like the best.
Go.
I am a high school teacher, which means I'm very good at compartmentalizing stress and ignoring things that are obnoxious.
Okay, I will say yes to that one.
Okay, I have a very good memory, so I might just start working through yoga practice that I, have done a lot and remember really well. Or because you said mind palace, maybe because I'm so organized, again, I can sort of compartmentalize stressors and sort of deal with them and put them away so that I can focus on other tasks.
I will say yes to the first 2, but no to the last one. So you may add the first 2 bonuses.
Both of them?
Yes.
Oh, but I also have a -1, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so that will negate the teacher part. That is a 4 and a 6 plus 3 is a 13.
Yeah, holy cow. For sure. Yeah, you're pretty effectively able to block out kind of the unpleasantness of Miss Monica Marsh. And, it kind of reminds you of Billy Griff, this really obnoxious kid you had in your classes for 4 years, and just eventually ended up becoming endearing, but oh, Billy. So Monica, you are, you're doing yoga, and what are you up to in this moment? How are you trying to basically make this activity a success and sort of clear your mind? And
I'm trying to remember better vacations I've had with no murders and beaches and sunshine, and so I'm trying to remember.
Okay, yeah. And I assume that's one of your shifts, right? Or skills.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good. I don't remember well. That is a 4.
Now, remember, you also get your +3.
Oh, so 7.
Okay. I think your bargain is this. You can either finish the activity and then maybe have a lingering soreness that might affect your next activity, or you can try to roll again and finish strong without a lingering injury.
I'm going to try to roll again.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
why
go
not?
for it.
Take the chance.
Yeah, for sure.
That's double ones.
Ouch.
Woo! I think you're trying to speed up, right? And first, you're trying to speed up. You're trying to get through the routine, and remember these great vacations. And then you're like, wait, I need to slow down. And that's when you fall backwards onto your tailbone, and it just really hurts. It's definitely going to leave a bit of a bruise that might affect some of your later activities. But you definitely hit the ground, and it hurts.
This is the worst vacation I've ever been on.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I mean, it has to be the same for you, right? There was a body on the floor last night.
You're not wrong. That was not good.
And Monica just kind of looks at Hannah and doesn't get her at all.
Yeah. I think there's this moment of tense suspicion as you. It's interesting because Monica's kind of had her moment with Bailey and had a moment with Desiree, and at least in confrontation, at least you could understand Bailey, and at least in a bit of looking down upon, you could understand where Desiree sits. But I think Monica is having that moment of where does Hannah sit in your schema of the world? Hannah, I would like you to give me one more roll to see if you can keep blocking out Monica as you move through the routine.
Sure. Is that with the same bonuses and penalties?
Yeah. I'll let you definitely take the same.
Okay. That is an 11.
Okay. Yeah. So you continue to flow through the routine, and Monica, I think at this point you probably stand up, get back up on your mat, and not really able to remember the better times. You do look over at Hannah and you do kind of watch her poses, and you're like, right, I'll follow. So you begin to like both move through the rest of the routine in silence, and the activity is a success. Yoga is a success.
Yay, we yogaed.
Yoga happened successfully. All right, so can I get we're gonna do the exact same thing, guys. All right, guys. So, yes, the way this is gonna work. Let's see. We did not have any matches, so I'll start with Hannah this time, who is out snowshoeing.
Did nobody die yesterday? Is this supposed to be like a slowly?
I think this is
The same day?
No. So we're on day 2. We're still on day 2.
okay.
This is just the afternoon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So you guys come back to the lodge. A quiet lunch is had. Fingerling sandwiches, cold cut kind of stuff. I mean, it's fairly high quality, but it's simple food. Before heading out to do the afternoon's activities, and we'll actually start with Hannah, who is snowshoeing through the wilderness. And I feel like,
I wore extra thick socks this time.
yes, I was gonna say you have extra thick socks. You have snowshoes. And from behind you, you hear kind of awkwardly, duck waddling up. You hear Desiree come up behind you.
Hello, Desiree.
She's like way too bundled up for her own good, so she just kind of goes, and she waves.
Are you the kid in Christmas Story right now?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, cool, good. So who is doing what in the snowshoeing to make because you're trying to basically get some distance and like see if I imagine Hannah's trying to see partially if there is another way down the mountain and just kind of like and see some nature at the same time.
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm using my memory a lot, but it is a good thing. So yeah, I guess I would like to sort of remember like the if it's obscured right now, sort of the path of the road, and kind of try to loosely follow that and just see how snowshoeable it is.
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you give me a roll for that?
That's a 9.
9. Okay. So, your bargain is basically going to be either I think you can get some distance and get lost, or you can follow the road and not get very far.
Okay. I would rather not get a lot of distance, but maintain knowing where I am.
Okay, excellent. You're following along the road. It's still pretty bad. I mean, Hans and Chris are still out there trying to, shovel, and you basically get to the end of the drive, and it's like, okay, like, it's fairly blocked. Yeah, so it's not really a fail or success. It just kind of is a thing that happens, and you're like, okay, well, where do we go from here? And Desiree, if you have any thoughts about where you go.
Well, I know Desiree probably just wants to get as far away from the lodge as she can for the time being, just to kind of breathe, since she had that panic attack in the we were in the library before, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think she wants to just get, some air and to get as far away as she can, but just kind of enjoy the quiet, a little bit of like a meditation of sorts. So she probably prepared for staying warm, and she's just kind of looking around to see if she can find anything interesting on their walk.
Okay, yeah. Why don't you give me like a search check?
Okay. No, that's a 3.
Yeah, no. You actually you're looking around and
These guys are going in the jail.
and as you're looking around, you actually just fall down and you're just completely covered in snow.
Yeah, I do the Christmas Story where I'm like stuck on the ground like trying to get back up.
And honestly, you probably Hannah. You look back and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to help her out. Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely turn around and go back and help her up and just say, oh, that's all right. These things are awfully awkward if you're not used to them.
Yeah, why don't you give me a roll for that? Because, she's in a bunch of clothes and you're both in snowshoes and, yeah.
Okay, I do not have any physical sort of skills, so I guess it'll just be 2d6, huh?
Yep.
Cool. Oh, no! That is also a 3.
All right,
Buddies.
You are pulled down into the snow right next to Desiree. It's cold, the shoes aren't helping, it's a really just awkward, jumbled mess. at this point, Hans and Chris come over and they help you both up, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. But now you're finally able to kind of like get started with, the kind of this rocky start. Hannah, what to try and recover from the falling and all this awkwardness, what do you do?
Well, it sounds like Desiree is looking for, like, wanting to go kind of distant from the resort and find a quiet place to snowshoe, so I will perceive a better path for us to try.
Yeah. Why don't you give me a roll for that?
Off the table. That'll be an...
He's rogue dice, man.
I know. Well, I don't have a very big rolling space, so that's an 8 total.
8 total. Okay. So I think the bargain here is this: you can basically choose to leave Desiree behind and like try and actually get your snowshoeing in, and have that be a success. And Desiree, you might have to do something in response to that, or you can choose to go together, and then the next roll you guys make. The next roll that one of you makes will be a -1.
I'd rather stay with her. My teacher instinct says to not leave anybody alone behind, especially right now.
Gotcha, for sure. Yep. So that'll be a success. So as you guys begin moving forward, Desiree, you take some peanuts out of your pack and begin to eat them, and you begin to choke.
Oh.
Yeah, you begin to cough, and you're putting your hand to your throat, and you're like, Hannah, you turn around, and you notice that Desiree is choking on some peanuts.
Oh gosh, I will immediately, run, quote unquote, in my snowshoes over and perform the Heimlich maneuver on her.
There we go. Do you have anything that can add to the Heimlich?
I'm a teacher, and they should be trained in first aid.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's still not gonna help much, though. Oh, that's a 6. Nope.
Yeah, okay. So here's what happens. Desiree is just you can't seem to get the actual movement through all of her clothing, and you pull and you pull and you pull, and you eventually, in a moment of just complete teacher caring about her students' strength, you lift her up in a suplex that pulls you both to the ground. You both collapse. Hannah, you do feel something dislocate in your shoulder, but you hear Desiree just like cough up the peanuts.
You okay there?
I'm gonna just kind of breathe for a moment and cough and nod, and then worry about her, because she just hurt herself, and I am also a teacher, so I was wondering if I could do anything to help.
Yes.
Well, so ultimately, here's the thing: we're at 3 failures, so at this point, it's decided. Let's pack it in.
It's freaking
Hannah,
Peanut Man.
you're yeah, I know, Mr. Peanut Man. He's the worst. But yeah, no. So Hannah, your right arm is out of socket. You will need to deal with that at some point. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. Okay.
Neat.
We're actually back in the library. Bailey has a deck of cards and is just shuffling them. Actually, let me ask Bailey, what do you have? You're trying to do a game of chance. Are you have cards? You have dice? What are we looking at?
Let's go with dice.
Dice. Okay. All right. So, and as you do, Monica Marsh makes her way into the library.
Hey, Monica, what's up?
You suddenly like me now?
No.
Well, that's good. At least it's out in the open. Are you gambling by yourself? You usually need to do that with another person.
Well, I mean, I can take your money if you want to bet something, but
Oh, that's right. Your card was declined, wasn't it?
the bank is just having some issues right now.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. I'm sure that's all it is.
Hmm.
I could spot you some money if you'd like to have a wager.
What's your wager?
Well, I never play for anything less than $500. Does that seem fair?
I'm sorry, how much? I got a peanut stuck in my throat. It's weird.
These peanuts, man. And Monica will sit down across from Bailey.
Okay. All right. So what is the game that's being had, Bailey?
I figured just freaking roll off or something, because that was the easiest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here, let's do this. Right. You're gonna roll 2d6. Do not say your result, okay?
Okay.
All right, so you both roll your dice, and then you put them underneath cups.
Okay.
You both glance at the numbers that you have. You have to say whether you believe that you have a number that is higher or a number that is lower. If you're right, you win. If you are incorrect, you lose. So it is possible for there to be 2 losers and 2 winners. But for someone to take the pot, there has to be a singular winner and a singular loser.
I'm gonna go with lower.
I'm going to go with higher.
All right, what did each of you have?
Rolled a 2.
And I rolled another 9, actually.
All right, so there's no clear winner there. As you guys roll, you guys can roll again.
Okay.
All right, who has what?
I'm gonna go with lower.
I'm going to go with lower.
Okay, what did each of you have?
Got a 5.
I got a 6.
Yeah, I win.
Yeah, so I guess how does Bailey react to her win?
She gets a little excited, but then she sees Monica eyeing her and she just like has to calm down. It's like, nope, look, I win. Tough luck.
It's not a big deal to me. It's just money, after all.
Do you have... So 500?
Why don't you give me a roll to see how well you keep your cool?
I don't. That's a 6.
Okay, that's a fail. Okay, cool. Yeah, so proceed to not keep your cool.
Do you ever listen to what you say? I mean, that $500 is literally my rent for the month. I have
Wow,
nothing.
you must live in quite a dump.
Yeah, I think
I'm trying to debate like how I want to handle this.
there's a roll to be had here.
Can I throw the closest object at Monica's face?
Oh, absolutely. I think it would be probably the cup on the table you had. Yeah, please make a roll.
It's a 7.
Okay, I don't think either way it hits her face. Either hits it, either it like grazes her arm, or it just straight up misses and shatters everywhere.
I'm gonna go with it misses.
Yeah, and in a spectacular explosion of glass and sound, it shatters everywhere. And there's little shards of glass all over the library now.
Do you feel better?
No, I don't, because I wish it was your face. Do you ever listen to the words that come out of your mouth? You know what? Keep your $500. I'd rather be homeless than take money from somebody like you. And she will get up and leave the library.
Yeah, you go to the doors, and the doors are not opening.
Of course the doors aren't opening. She's like slamming them.
Yeah, why don't you give me... See if you can get the doors open. Give me a roll for that.
Based on how I'm rolling. Nope, I rolled a 3.
Yeah, you begin to kind of panic, because you realize, oh, I'm in a locked room.
Probably with the murderer.
With the person I just threw a glass at, who might be the murderer. And you begin to kind of freak out, and you begin to rattle the doors, and you eventually the doors open, and Ginny's like, yeah, what's the matter? And you tumble out. You're on the floor as I assume Monica Marsh walks by you in her manner that she does, and and there's this moment where literally you are lying on the floor and she is towering above you, and it does make your blood boil, Bailey.
Should have went with Becky.
Yeah. So that takes us to the end of day 2. We do have a nighttime scene. You're all gathered around the bar, and it's an awkward silence as you all basically are getting your drinks on. And the bartender Rebecca seems to be reading the mood, and it's dour, and she kind of just keeps the drinks flowing. And she sort of looks at you all. It's like, rough day. I mean, I can't imagine anything worse than being trapped here, waiting for somebody to come and rescue us. I mean, it's ridiculous. She's just cleaning a glass and, just trying to keep her cool, I mean, she definitely looks like she could hold her own, but you have noticed that some of the staff have started to kind of be a little bit uneasy, while Ginny is still trying to keep the whole thing together. Some of the staff are kind of a little bit on edge, understandably.
Desiree is holding on to the scrapbook she was working on before, just kind of sadly thinking to herself, and I don't think she's taken a drink of her drink. I think she's just sighing.
Desiree's definitely had a hard go of the last 2 days. But you're definitely just sighing pretty heavily. I think probably, Monica, you probably pick up on that first. Probably an annoyance, probably.
Before...
What's wrong?
Oh, Monica's gonna be nice. Never mind.
I didn't even hear what she said. What did she say?
I said, what's wrong in kind of a bored way.
Oh.
Oh, I lied. Monica's not gonna be nice.
Why would that have been your first assumption?
She'll look towards Monica and she'll just start wiping her eyes. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make it an outwards thing. It's just, I don't know, it's seeing all of this happen. It just, I wish I could be with my daughters. Oh.
Yeah, and Monica, as you shift in your seat, the head of the figurine of the woman who was murdered rolls out of your handbag and plops onto the floor. A very loud clank.
Desiree actually will drop the sighing and actually look very surprised towards it.
Yeah, and there's this moment of Desiree staggers out of her bar stool, getting some distance, and everybody kind of begins to circle around Monica for a moment, believing that, or at least with questions of what was she doing with the figurine.
You just take things that don't belong to you? Miss Moneybags?
I don't know how that got into my things. It's ghastly. I don't want it.
Likely story.
Desiree is starting to have a panic attack again.
I will try to calm down Desiree.
Yeah, give me a roll for that.
9.
I think the bargain here is you can calm down Desiree and have Monica's ire go towards you, or you can kind of leave Desiree to her own devices and sort of direct your attention towards Monica.
I will calm down Desiree and take the ire of Monica. Because I don't give a shit if Monica doesn't like me.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap.
Sorry.
So Monica, you can just feel yourself getting angry because it's like you're not the killer, and all these people are accusing you of being something you're not.
I accused her of being a petty thief, which is worse than being accused of being a killer to Monica, I'm assuming.
Wow. Okay.
She puts down her glass kind of hard on the bar and stands up and says, "Oh, I'm surprised you didn't take it. Maybe you could try to peddle it for some money."
Money isn't everything to me other than a survival mechanism. If I really needed money, I would have taken it from you when you rubbed it in my face that you had so much.
I know this is probably not the best time, but you will need to pay for that drink there, Miss Beck.
That's fine. I'll cover it. And she slides 100 across the bar.
I'd rather work it off by doing dishes.
I mean, I'm gonna take the lady's 100 because...
you could take it. That's not gonna cover my bill, though. I have pride.
Yeah, sure. Okay, good. So I think at that point the night, sort of resolves in this tense moment of Bailey going off to do dishes, Monica, Desiree, and Hannah returning to their rooms. So Bailey, you end up being a little bit tired probably the next morning.
If I'm not killed by Monica, the murderer.
If you're not killed by Monica. Yeah. So we're going to go to the next day, day 3. Tensions are running high. Chris and Hans were able to get some work done across the day, but they probably won't be able to work today, as well as the road crew. Oh, actually, yeah, they got some nice progress in there. It's in the distance, but you can hear the engines working to dig out the snow. You can at least hear that faintly as you all come to, but they're not quite there yet. You all wake up in the next morning and you start to feel like the walls are closing in a little bit, that the killer is getting closer, and you all set out on your morning activities. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to have... The killer needs to do is this. You're going to need to give me 2 numbers and 1 name of an individual you want to kill. If your number matches up with their place, you will be at that activity. If not, we'll deal with that then. For the rest of you, I need you to give me your activity and a number. So you're going to roll 2d6 and give me an activity, okay?
I have a question about the activities.
Yes.
Are we only picking from the list of 3 goals, or are we just picking any activity?
You want to be picking from your 3 goals because you want to try and keep your secrets as long as possible. Because if you happen to get through your 3 activities, then you will basically gain an extra, like a free space for when you need to reveal one of those.
If I can't do one of my activities, can I switch it for something else? Or is it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Okay.
Oh no, someone's gonna get murdered.
In
Okay.
broad daylight.
Okay, this is actually really interesting. Okay, so interestingly enough, here's what is going to happen. Bailey, you are joined by Monica in the greenhouse. You're trying to basically clear your mind of the tension of the previous night.
Please, for the love of God, just go away.
Yeah, and Monica, you are approaching Bailey.
Look, we're never going to like each other, and that's fine. But we need to not kill each other because there's an actual killer on the loose.
Monica, why don't you try and give me a charming roll?
That is 10.
Oh, so yeah, okay, so you do try and like bridge the gap, and Bailey, you are sensing it. Guess what? You know, like there is some bit of truth to this. Like you two may not like each other, but like there is more power in numbers.
Fine, whatever. Just, can you stop freaking bringing up money? Please, I get it. You're rich. You make more money than I do in a lifetime. Congratulations. Let's just skip over that part.
Fine. What would you rather talk about? The weather?
I'd rather just continue meditating, woo-sighing, releasing tension.
Bailey, why don't you try and give me a roll for woo-sawing? Please roll for woo-sawing.
I fail at it either way.
Yeah, I think you're too hot-blooded at this point to really
I got a
like.
4.
Yeah, no. You're feeling your tensions rise, and it's just like you're not able to find that moment of calm in all of this. Monica, how are you responding to seeing? You can see Bailey basically bristling at your presence.
You have to breathe in, hold it, then breathe out. And she's gonna like take her through some deep breathing exercises.
Why don't you give me a roll for that?
8?
Okay, so again, I think we sense a pattern with Monica. The pattern is this: either you can take +2 to your next roll and give Bailey a -1, or you can try and actually help her out.
Time. Because they fought so much, she's going to try to actually help her out.
Oh, okay, cool.
What is
All right.
this?
Emotional growth?
Monica's buttering up before the murder. You have to be calm so I could stab you.
Right. So so here's how that's actually going to play out. It's basically going to count as a failure, but because you're trying to help her out, Bailey will take a +1 to all of her rolls moving forward.
Yay! So my 4
All right,
would be a
so-
5 next time.
Right, exactly, yeah. So Bailey, I think you're trying to calm down and get there. So why don't you're listening to the words that Monica's giving you. Why don't you give me a roll to try and like find that moment of peace?
6 + 1 + 1. So 8.
Oh man. So you have a choice here. Something you will do will make sure that she has a -1 moving forward for the next day, possibly day and a half. And obviously that would be a failure. Or you can find a little bit of peace and try and find some different way forward.
I will find a different way forward.
Yeah, you feel that moment of frustration, and you're like, but I'm not going to give in to that. Yeah, and you guys continue to meditate and continue to try and find that moment of calm. And yeah, what is, I guess, because we're at 2 successes and 2 failures, what would be the final thing that like one of you tries to do to try and get this activity to be a success with all the tensions as high as they are?
I will try to use a method I found in a book one time that I've never tried before and start describing it in detail. I'm not actually going to describe it, about this one method that's used in Buddhism and so on and so forth.
Gotcha, for sure. Yeah, give me a roll for that.
I think I pass.
Whoa.
I got a 10.
Yeah, 10.
Because of the +1 for Monica, I got a 10.
Okay, all right. You have a moment. You take a calm, cool breath. You feel finally at peace. You feel that this was a success. You reach into your bag and you pull out a water bottle. You drink the water because it is warm in this greenhouse. And that's when you start to feel your chest tighten, Bailey. You feel like you can't breathe. You begin to gasp. Monica, you finally take note of this.
Deep breaths. Deep. Meditate.
Bailey throws her hands out and is gasping, clutching at her neck and turning blue in the face. Clearly something is wrong. Beyond just not breathing. I'm not sure if Monica would recognize that.
Well, if her face starts getting blue, I think Monica's gonna shout for help.
Yeah, and finally, Bailey collapses, still and unmoving. And everyone rushes in, and Bailey is dead.
Oh shit.
I told you Monica did it.
And they all see you. They all see you, Monica, and Bailey in the room. Desiree and Hannah, how do you react to this?
Desiree immediately will grab at her cross again and just start panic attacking a little bit as she backs up, seeing the scene in front of her, because that sounds like a scary ass scene.
Yeah, and Hannah, what are your reactions?
I would first sort of like assess the entire room and sort of see what's up, and I guess realize that the water bottle is probably there next to her, and go over and sort of like do the if you've seen Scientists, how you sort of like waft the smell from like a beaker or a test tube in order to smell it without just like inhaling all of it. I would sort of do that with both the water bottle and over Bailey's face to see if I can tell what exactly happened to her.
It's definitely some sort of chemical. You're gathering it was probably poison in the water bottle. Yeah, and Monica, how are you reacting to this scene that you are in the middle of?
She's kind of like standing in shock. Like she just keeps blinking and she can't verbalize anything. And she's just shocked.
Yeah. I mean it, and Ginny's standing there. It's like, Monica, how could you?
What are you talking about? 1 minute we were meditating, the next minute she took a drink of water and then she fell on the floor.
You were the only one here.
It's not like I poisoned her.
Ginny runs off. So to expedite things, for the remainder of the, let's see how quickly they get up to you. It is 7 days before they arrive. In the meantime, there are no further murders. When the detective arrives, he's questioning each of you. Let's start with Hannah. Hannah, when the detective questions you, what do you say about things, and who do you believe is the murderer?
She's very matter-of-fact about everything, just sort of describes details as well as she can remember. Do I have to name someone? Because I feel like she's the sort of person that would be very reluctant to take a guess rather than like state something based on fact.
No, you do not. You do not have to take a guess. Yeah, he's just like, no, that's fine. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Miss Schuler. I'll, you're free to go. Or well, hang out for a second. You're free to go. Hang out.
Skips off into the sunset. Woo!
Wait. Actually, don't leave. Sorry, my bad.
My bad. I'm a professional at this. Yeah.
I do this for a living.
Yeah, right. Desiree, detective questions you. And who do you implicate? And how do you implicate them? If you do implicate somebody.
I feel like Desiree is kind of the same as Hannah in that sense. Is she believes in all of the people that were here, and she's probably still a sobbing mess since the day that Bailey passed, and she doesn't know what to believe.
Yeah. Well, so you don't have any indication on who might have done this?
I mean, Monica was in there, but she would never. I mean, she was so kind to me, I don't think. And Hannah's so sweet. I can't imagine either of them doing something like this.
And she'll start wiping her eyes quickly and trying to compose herself in front of him, but she's losing it fast.
Yeah, I know. He puts a hand on your shoulder. It's all right, ma'am. It's all right, Miss Middleton. Just hang tight for a few minutes, and then we'll just hang tight. Nikki, you get the pleasure. He interviews one of the hotel staff, one of the people who you talked about this episode. What would they say? Who would he have interviewed? And what would they say about this whole experience?
He probably would have interviewed the bartender.
Okay, Rebecca, yeah.
And she would have just been like, well, I mean, I don't know who it was, but that Monica lady has a lot of money, so... Honestly, I thought it was Bailey for a while because she needed the money. Her card got declined. But, I guess I'd go with Monica. She had the thing in her pocket.
Interesting. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Rebecca. You need to keep questioning witnesses. Thank you for your time. And then he goes to Monica Marsh. Well, Miss Marsh, I've heard quite a bit of tales and thought I'd get your side of things. Apparently you were the only one in the greenhouse with Miss Beck when everything went down. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, the only thing I know for sure is that I didn't do it. And she took a drink of water, and it must have been from a bottle that was already opened. And if you know anything about me, I never take a drink from a bottle that hasn't been sealed before. I'll throw away... Sorry, I'm looking at the chat. I'll throw away a bottle if it's been opened before I drink it. I don't know who did this, but I do know that Hannah is very, I don't know, calculating. I couldn't get a read on her. She was very odd.
Well, unfortunately, Miss Marsh, I don't know you. But we're going to take a little bit of time and get to know each other a little better. He slaps some handcuffs on your wrists. Monica Marsh, you are being detained for the potential murder of Bailey Beck. Anything you say can and will be used against you. And we'll need to have you come down to the station.
I didn't do it, is what she says as she's being taken away.
Yeah, as they shove you into the squad car. As you all head home, the figurines still lay on the mantle at Raven's Head. Hannah returns to her life as a school teacher, glad to leave the memories behind. Monica Marsh was questioned for an entire week before the detective realized that she was not the one who did the crime. And Desiree Middleton got away scot-clean with 2 murders at Raven's Head over the weekend.
Desiree, no!
She was never to be found, and because of the time that they spent questioning Monica Marsh, she got away scot-clean.
I helped you. You monster.
I just wanted you to join my daughter. I thought you'd make a great friend for her.
Oh, God.
That's not creepy at all.
Yeah. So guys, that's Broken Figures. We had to truncate some things a bit, but I'm glad we could get together and play this. So yeah.
That was fun.
It was fun. Being the murderer was hard.
I didn't think it was you. There was a small thing. I'm like, she's being a little.
I know you guys were
too
joking
nice.
around a lot, and I was like, oh, they know I'm it. They know I'm it because we were joking so much.
I totally didn't think so because you were doing so much sabotaging. I was like, that has to be intentional.
Well, like honestly, I was surprised because part of the murderer's role is to pick things that might happen, and then it kept happening to me, and I'm like, that's what they're for. I'm the one.
No. So technically, it's supposed to just happen. And honestly, that's kind of up to me, my role, to kind of interpret how that will happen. And because Desiree was kind of a mess, it kind of just made sense. Like,
no, I loved
like,
it because it totally gave me like freedom in that sense because I could totally use that helpless victim card.
Exactly, and that's kind of my role, is to kind of, you know, like throw suspicion on everyone and kind of make everyone seem also not suspicious.
Well, Monica being a pain in the ass was really made me immediately like,
so much.
Nope, she's
Especially
the bad
you
guy.
guys bickering so much, like using the porcelain head in her purse. Like, I knew that was gonna start fires.
Which, by the way, that was Desiree's red herring, which basically is like a freebie secret that she can give to somebody else to redirect the suspicion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so only the killer has a red herring. And actually, one of the things that she used against you guys, Bailey and Monica, when you guys were in the library playing dice, she basically had it that the doors were, one of her, like, blocks, basically, was that the doors were locked and you guys wouldn't be able to get out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I trusted you, Desmond.
And you got
I
away.
still love you, and I didn't blame anybody, honestly. I could have been that type of murderer. I could have been the Mrs. White, like crying and batting the eyes.
And you know what I loved, actually, right at the end, you were like, well, but she was, you know, but Monica was in there, you know, but she would never hurt a fly. It was like, you suddenly dropped the information, but it was like, oh, okay, clearly she's not trying to name drop, so.
I am a professional. No.
I like that Monica was so suspicious of Hannah just because she wasn't in the middle of the fight. It's like...
Yeah, I was using that to my advantage too a little bit. I'm like, oh good, everybody blames each other. This is great.
She's too logical about things. No, that's not okay.
She must be stopped.
She must be stopped.
She wore cotton. How dare she? She must be stopped.
Oh god. She uses a reusable water bottle. What the hell?
Yeah, like that's the one that blew my mind. It was like, oh, okay, all right, fine. No reusable water bottles, I guess.
She's just awful. I wanted to make an awful character, and I succeeded.
You did succeed.
I thought
you
it
did
worked
succeed.
in my advantage, though.
You know, given long enough, I think Monica was probably going to be next. I had to think it was probably going to be Bailey, then Monica, then Hannah. Yeah,
I kept failing my roles, so my secrets kept coming out.
Oh yeah, no. I honestly, I had a feeling actually right at the. I was actually surprised. I thought in the greenhouse you really were like. I thought you were like on the way to your third fail, and I was like, oh man, you're so close. Like, but yeah.
So let's go ahead and have everybody tell people where they can find you, and then we can end tonight. So, why don't we start with Joel?
Okay, guys. My name is Joel Shalda. You can find me on Twitter at Saldamander, and that's SALDAMANDAR. Or you can find me on itch at thebigtabletop.itch.io, and that's where you can find this game and a few others of varying fun.
All right, and Hina?
You can find me on Twitch under GM Hina. I'm also on Twitter under Hina Squirrel, where I post a lot of fun tabletop stuff, and we actually live stream a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game as well as a Monster of the Week campaign.
Okay, and Cheryl.
I am Cheryl, she, her. You can find me online on YouTube and Twitter at The Roving Naturalist, and I'm also the coordinator for the Nature Check Project, which you can find on Twitch at NatureCheckD&D. We're also on Twitter, YouTube, and podcast platforms, and we do TTRPGs and video game content.
And finally, Ellen.
Hi, I'm Ellen. You can find me on Twitter at Ellen_Dalina, DALINA. You can regularly find me GMing the Birdhouse Mysteries podcast. It's a Savage Worlds actual play podcast at Birdhouse Mist, MYST on Twitter.
Awesome. So thank you guys so much for joining. This was a blast. I will put all of those links down below, including the link to Joel's itch.io, where you can buy Broken Figures, and his other games that he's created that we spoke about just a couple of days ago. A couple of weeks ago when this goes out. Please check us out on Twitter at Beholder to No One or Facebook at Beholder to No One. You can also find us wherever podcasts can be found. And you can check out our website at beholdertonone.com if you like. And yeah, I hope to see you all again next time. And thanks again for joining. Bye!